Fiedler has been a member of a tennis family his entire life. As a child growing up, his dad was a very active and skilled player. Gave Bill some of that, gave Bill a little bit of a thrust there, and Bill and his dad eventually became nationally ranked in father-son doubles. As an adult, Bill married a tennis player. His wife played #1 singles at Michigan State University. Now there's an irony, Bill. Here we are honoring you as one of Ripon's great tennis players, and you might very well be the #2 tennis player in your family. Bill had 4 things when he was in college that made him a great player. #1, he had the strokes, the skills. #2, he was an athlete, great coverage of the court. #3, he had a terrific head on his shoulders. And #4, he hated to lose. Bill was a winner. Bill had a stupendous experience near the end of his senior season. As a junior, he was the best tennis player in the conference, qualified for the Division III national tournament. As a senior, same thing, but he qualified in doubles also with his doubles partner, Dave Wolf. Well, the 3 of us are heading over to Kalamazoo, Michigan for the Division III national tournament, wanting to get there in time for the seeding meeting and draw. Unfortunately, we were a little bit late. As we walked up to the building, the doors opened and out came a whole host of players and coaches. One of the coaches who I was particularly good friends with saw me coming up and said, "Charlie, bad news." I looked at him, he says, "Terrible news." I said, "Smitty, what's the problem?" He says, "Fiedler drew the #1 seed in the first round of the tournament." Well, that means that Bill had to play the best singles player in Division III tennis right off the bat. He wasn't the best player that day. Bill beat him in straight sets, and Bill Fiedler became the talk and the toast of the tournament. The fact that Bill eventually lost did not detract from what he accomplished. He was the only player there that beat the #1 seed. Terrific experience. One last tidbit of information about Bill. Bill never met, while he was a student, Bill never met a party he didn't like. Please welcome Bill Fiedler to the Ripon College Athletic Hall of Fame.
A little older than some of the other recipients tonight, so. So first of all, I want to congratulate all the other inductees and award winners. Well done. Last fall, I got a letter in the mail from Ripon College, and I noticed it wasn't the usual envelope that I would get from the college. And my first thought was, it was going to be like one of those dreams. And the letter would say, "Mr. Fiedler, we regret to inform you that you've fallen a few credits short. And after all these years, we're going to have to take that diploma back." But as I read on, I discovered this really nice thing, and I'm honored and I appreciate it. For starters, I want to say a few words about 2 individuals who quite a few of you knew, who had connections to Ripon College and were big influences on my life, but are no longer with us now. The first was my dad, Ed Fiedler, who served on the Ripon College Board of Trustees in the late 80s. And along with being a great father to me in so many ways, he got me involved in a wide variety of sports from a very early age, and for that I'll always be grateful, as sports has played a huge role in my life, and hugely positive role. He was also one of the most competitive people you will ever meet, but at the same time, he was very positive And fortunately, I think I got a little bit of those two qualities, which sure has helped me in sports and in life, I think. The second is my cousin Tom Pappenthien, who we lost 3.5 years ago. Quite a few of you knew Tom. He was a terrific guy, and he played tennis at Ripon 5 years before I did. Tom was the primary reason I came to Ripon. Although I had had some contact with Chuck, I was all set to go to an East Coast school, and Tom, who always had a big influence on me from an early age, convinced me to come out to Ripon and take a look, meet Coach Larson, see the campus, and play a little tennis. Actually, Will Higgins, who's here tonight, was our fourth that day. It was a beautiful June day, and I figured it must be like this year-round. So I changed my plans, and it's one of the best decisions I ever made. I'll always be thankful to Tom for pushing me in that direction. And I'm very pleased that his son, Austin, who's a terrific athlete in his own right, is here with us tonight. Although tennis is primarily an individual sport, except for doubles, of course, where you have a partner, what made the tennis team experience at Ripon special was the camaraderie with the players and with Coach Larson. That's probably the best thing about this night for me, is seeing all these old teammates and friends all here together after all these years. It's really special. Although I don't have time to mention them all, they know who they are, but I briefly want to talk about two characters, the two guys I came in with as freshmen. First is really the character of all characters, Ashley Cooper. Ashley and I were immediately competitive with one another, as evidenced by the many broken ping pong paddles and pool cues we left in our wake around campus as a freshman. Now at this point, I just want to be sure that Ashley is sitting down. Is he back there sitting down? Good, he's seated. Okay. I just don't want him to faint because I'm about to deliver him a compliment, which I'm not sure I ever have done. All right, so here it is. Ashley, you were a pretty good athlete. His story actually illustrates why schools like Ripon are so terrific. Ashley was offered a scholarship to play college tennis for the Badgers, but he had had such a terrific senior year on the basketball court that he wanted to really pursue both sports and see how far he could take them. He couldn't do that at Wisconsin, playing for the Badgers. He could only play one sport there, tennis. But Ripon offered him the opportunity to do both, and he took full advantage, flourishing in both, and at the same time getting a great liberal arts education. The second guy who came in with me was my doubles partner and lifelong friend, Dave Wolf. One of the things that made Dave such a terrific doubles partner was the fact that he had one of the best overheads I've ever seen. This was partially because he was as fast moving backwards as most guys are moving forwards. This worked well for us because I had a mediocre overhead, and at 5'6" on a good day, opponents would take one look at Dave and they'd always lob him. Big mistake. One fond memory I have of playing with Dave was a match here against hated rival Oshkosh. On this day, we'd been pushed indoors by rain, and there'd been some bad blood with Oshkosh. The team making some bad calls, as often was the case. And this sort of thing never set well with Dave. And he proceeded to go into his Rambo kill mode, hitting our opponents as hard as he could with his overheads. At the same time, the Ripon football players, whose practice had also been forced indoor by the rain, got wind of what was going on and circled our court. And for some reason, the Oshkosh players continued to lob Dave. He kept crushing overheads at them, and the football players kept roaring their approval. It was just a great scene and a great memory. Dave and I became even better friends after college, and many years later, He did the best thing a friend could ever do for another friend. He introduced me to my wife, Kim, which in turn brought our wonderful daughter, Ingrid, and son, Will, who I'm lucky enough to have with me here tonight. I know I've gone over, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say a few words about my old coach. The only 70-something guy who looks like he's still about 40, and moves like it too. Chuck did a lot of things well as our coach, but two things really stand out to me. First was his ability to teach doubles. He was way ahead of his time with the use of hand signals and poaching. This gave us a big advantage and helped me and others to become much better doubles player at Ripon and well after college. It's no accident that for years I'd see younger players who followed me at Ripon, like Jolt Uhas and Mark Balladad, routinely beating up on former Big Ten players in the Chicago area tournaments. The second thing that some of you may appreciate in this hyper-serious sports era that we now live in was the fact that Chuck always kept it fun. Events like meatball doubles and the Heine-Reine-Line Open really say it all. He'd mix this fun in with some positive messaging, intense moments like, "The cream will always rise, boys." As you can probably tell, I'm a big fan of small schools that deliver a quality liberal arts education like Ripon, and the experience I had on the tennis team here. Ripon College tennis and Chuck Larson made a difference in my life, as did administrators and teachers like Dean Harris and Seth Singleton, to name a few. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.